Welcome to the Queen of Hearts podcast. And here's the queen herself, registered dietitian Heather Klug. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's also a busy time of the year.
Yeah.
Especially for women. Buying and wrapping presents, decorating the tree, making your home look festive, sending out those holiday cards, planning what to eat for holiday dinners. So many things to do this time of year. If the holiday season has you frazzled, check out today's episode. The Queen of Hearts podcast is helping you hack your holidays, heart-healthy style. I'm Heather Klug.
And I'm Bethany DeBrew-Adams.
And we're from the Karen Yance Women's Cardiac Awareness Center.
Now, just listening to you list off all that stuff, it made me do two things. One, it made me tired. Second of all, how is Santa a dude and not a woman? Just tossing that out there.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Because it's Mrs. Claus, apparently, who does all the real heavy lifting.
I think so. I think she does all the planning and organizing,
right?
I'm tired of thinking about everything, too.
Right.
In fact, let's all take a collective deep breath right now.
Good idea.
Ready?
Yep.
Breathe in. Breathe out. At the time this podcast will air, we will be in the thick of holiday preparations.
Yeah.
Much of it done by women. Not that men don't help. They do.
Isn't that cute?
They do a little.
They do a little.
My husband is in charge of things like outside lights and the decorating. You know, he helps haul out our Christmas tree and get that set up. And he helps with the upcoming yearly calendar with pictures. He gets that started for me.
Yeah, my husband helps with the outside lights and all of that stuff, too. And he hauls up the tree. But it seems like I haul up a lot of the other stuff that goes with the tree. So he might haul the tree, but I haul all the ornaments and whatnot. So he helps, but I think he just more enjoys that the house looks festive and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like the majority of these holiday tasks fall on us ladies.
That is very true, especially when you have kids. There's huge pressure put on moms to make the holidays magical and to make memories.
Oh, yeah.
You know, taking the pictures to have a picture with Santa, taking the family to see holiday lights, going to special holiday experiences around town, making certain cookies or other treats, watching holiday movies, researching and buying the perfect gifts for everyone, doing something fun over the holiday break, and so on.
Etc., etc.
Right? My kids are a little older now, so there's less pressure for certain things, but the pressure is still there to have this so-called magical holiday.
Yeah, and that added holiday pressure on top of just our everyday stress can affect our physical and mental health and, of course, our hearts, which is why we're here.
That's right.
We've talked about the impacts of stress on the heart in previous episodes, and we'll link to them. Putting so much pressure on ourselves to have the quote-unquote perfect holiday can send stress levels just skyrocketing this time of year, and this can lead to exhaustion and burnout. And when we're exhausted and burnt out, we're less likely to do healthy things for our body. It's much easier to eat less healthy and not exercise and let our amount of sleep slide. And New Year's Day is being dangled out there now. Like, it's a couple of weeks away. So I know I've done this in the past, but people are like, yeah, I'll deal with it next year. It'll be my New Year's resolution.
Right?
You know, what's the worst that's going to happen in 2 weeks, right?
That's right. We hear that a lot from people. Not to mention, time spent on holiday to-do lists often means time taken away from the things that help us follow a healthy lifestyle, such as planning healthy meals, exercising, getting enough sleep, and taking time for ourselves to de-stress. It's really a double whammy for our heart health. And we want no whammies.
No whammies.
Stop. So today we're discussing some easy hacks to keeping your heart healthy during the holidays. Remember, ladies, like we say at the end of every episode, be the ruler of your own heart.
Yes. There's already a higher risk for heart attacks between Thanksgiving and New Year's for various reasons. And we talked about that in our holiday heart attack episode last year. So we'll link to that so you guys can check it out. Mm-hmm. We don't want to make heart troubles even more likely.
Yeah.
So let's discuss hack number 1, which has to do with stress management.
Sounds like an excellent place to start, considering all the holiday stressors we just talked about.
Yeah, I'm stressed out just from that opening.
Just thinking about it.
So in a poll conducted by the website Very Well Mind, more than 80% of their respondents said they found the holiday season to be, quote, somewhat or very stressful, ranking right up there with asking for a raise.
Wow, that's bad.
Yeah.
But I can't say it's any real surprise.
Yeah, I agree. I know how stressed I can get around the holidays, and honestly, so much of it boils down to pressure that I just put on myself, like you said.
Yeah, that's true.
To make everything perfect and lovely. And I'm wondering if this year stress levels are higher because last year, so many of us had to celebrate the holiday either alone or just with people only in our households.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't this ability to make this perfect Christmas. So now this year, there's more pressure to create that amazing holiday experience that we missed out on last year.
I hadn't thought of that, but that's a really good point. So since we are already in the thick of the holiday season, what are some hacks that our listeners can do to manage their stress right now?
Okay, well, I have 5 quick hacks for folks to use to manage this season. And the first is to acknowledge your feelings. So speaking from my own experience, Christmas has always been a complicated time of year because I love it. I love Christmas. I love the season. But I also have a tendency to feel pretty blue as well.
Aww.
And I have since I was a really little kid. I miss family who's passed away or can't be there with us. And I just get this kind of general sense of melancholy that kind of underlies everything. But what tends to help is to just acknowledge that you have these feelings.
Okay.
And my dad taught me that because he and I talked about that when I was young. And I told him that that was how I felt. And he said it's totally normal.
Yeah.
Any feelings that you have about the holidays are valid, whether it's joy or sadness or frustration, what have you. And it's okay to take a few minutes and just let yourself cry or scream or, I don't know, bite something. Because I may or may not have done that in the past. Just nothing that'll crack your teeth or hurt another human or your animals or whatever. Just get those feelings out.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'd like to go to a place where I can throw breakable things.
Ooh. Like your kitchen? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not going to do it to my own stuff. I want to go to some place where they have them and then just whip them at the wall just to get that stress out. But crying or screaming works too.
Right.
So stress busting hack number 1 is acknowledge our feelings. What's stress busting hack number 2?
Well, secondly, change your expectations for togetherness. If we've learned anything from living through this pandemic the past couple of years, it's that together doesn't actually have to mean being in the same room for hours and hours and hours. These are things that can stress us out and burn us out. Sometimes family can burn you out like nothing else can. This year, maybe adjust the time frame for your big family party. Maybe it's 4 hours instead of 6 hours.
Yeah.
Or do you have family members that are important to you that can't be there? Have them join you via Zoom or FaceTime for a little bit. Say hello, share your holiday a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And if you're alone over the holidays, maybe find a way to volunteer, just a way to be around other people. Because all of these things bring us together with people without overtaxing us.
Great ideas, Bethany. And I'm a big fan of volunteering. I love that one. What about stress-busting hack number 3?
Well, this one, I'll admit, is a tough one for a lot of us, and that's learning to say no. If there are functions that you just don't want to go to, but you do it because you feel obligated to be there, you're probably going to end up feeling overwhelmed and resentful. let's face it, nobody expects you to be able to do or go to everything. So if you can say no, do so. And then the tricky part is to stick with it. Don't waver.
Yes.
And if you feel comfortable, maybe even let the person know that you're feeling overwhelmed and you just can't this time.
That is definitely a hard one for me, although I've gotten better with this over the years. I've learned to think before automatically saying yes.
Good advice.
Because I like to help, right? So I'll be like, yes, I could. Oh, okay, they need help. I'll help them. And I've learned to also not should on myself, and that's not a swear word. I should make a gingerbread house with my kids. We should plan somewhere fun to go over, winter break. Let go of the should thoughts and do what's most important to you and your family.
Yeah.
Now, Bethany, I'm hoping holiday hack number 4 is easier.
Well, I think it might be. Number 4 is finding and taking shortcuts where you can. So, can you make your annual Christmas dinner a potluck instead of making the whole meal by yourself? Do it. Are the kids good at wrapping gifts? Then have them wrap things that aren't theirs. Take a little off your plate.
And let it be okay that they're not going to look perfect.
Do you like setting out cookies for your guests? Why not buy them instead of baking them all? That one is one of my own hacks because I used to bake a bunch of different cookies each Christmas because everybody likes a different kind and you want to make everybody happy. And I stressed myself out trying to get it all done. Now I just breathe and buy a couple boxes from Trader Joe's and it's one less thing I need to do. And I'm happier because of it.
Oh, so true. Now, what is the last stress-busting hack?
Well, this is what we're talking about throughout this whole podcast, and that's to not abandon your healthy habits. I think this is something I've grown to appreciate the older I get because it seems like I can't just take December and throw caution to the wind. And
can't get away with it anymore.
No, I can't just eat whatever or just loaf around for a month without feeling super crummy.
Yeah.
So as far as your mental health goes, take moments to be alone and just breathe, whether it's, taking a walk around the block or whatever, does it for you.
Yeah.
Do some yoga, do some stretching. And evaluate how much time you spend reading or watching the news or scrolling social media because that can produce extra undue stress.
Yes.
So be mindful and maybe take some time off of both if you need to. I have done that this year. I just had enough.
Yeah.
So I watched the weather and then I let the rest fall where it may.
Yes, that is good advice for any time of the year. I've had to do that here and there as well. And it feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. A media break can be a nice vacation for your brain. Now, what about sleep? We just busted a bunch of sleep myths a few weeks ago in an episode. How does that factor in?
Well, obviously getting good sleep is part of maintaining your healthy habits, but the holidays can mean late nights at parties or wrapping gifts or baking, etc., etc. And once you start going to bed later, like we talked about in that podcast, you're putting yourself into sleep debt, which can be hard to get out of.
Yeah.
My recommendation is to do your best to stick to your sleep schedule and sleep routine as much as you can. Remember to keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet because that's going to get you the best sleep. So, maybe treat yourself to some earplugs or a nice sleep mask. And of course, be aware of what you eat and drink in the afternoon and evening because as we talked about in previous episodes, things like alcohol, caffeine, chocolate, and spicy foods can all have negative effects on your sleep.
Yes. I just started using earplugs and a sleep mask recently.
Yay!
And it's glorious.
Isn't it? That's what I
love it. Yes. You mentioned not staying up too late, which makes sense. If you have kids, though, that stay up a little later, this makes wrapping presents without them seeing the presents more challenging.
Fair point.
I'd recommend wrapping a present or two each night so it's spread out over several nights.
Good idea.
Or wrap as you buy. But if you do need to wrap several presents right before the big day, because I've done that, and my husband and I started doing this in the last couple of years. So we get out our banquet table and we lay out all the materials, the wrapping paper, scissors, tape, bows, so on. And then he helps me. So one of us wraps and one of us gets the tape ready or I'll wrap and he'll put the tags on them, that kind of a deal. So you can wrap them assembly style. It goes so much faster when you do it that way. Put on a fun Christmas movie, and it will just make the time seem more fun. I usually play Love Actually while I wrap presents.
I watch White Christmas while I wrap presents.
So pick a favorite movie you have.
Yeah.
Right? Elf might be kind of fun, too.
Ooh, that's a good
There's
one.
A lot of funny moments in there.
Just don't get too caught up in the movie because then, everything goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
One of the other really great things you can do to stay healthy during the holidays, and this is a tough one, I think, is to get exercise.
Oh, yeah.
So we know you're all really busy with obligations and everything going on. So one of the best ways to work in some exercise is through exercise snacks, as we call them. Mm-hmm. These have become quite the trend on Instagram and other social media in the last few years. And now we know that these short bursts of exercise can be just as good for you as a full-on 30-minute exercise session.
Yeah, and we get the idea of exercise snacks from blue zones. Isn't that right?
That is right. Blue zones are those parts of the world where people have been shown to live and live healthily, more importantly, well into their 80s and 90s and even beyond.
Yep, over the age of 100.
Yep, and one of the things we know about people in these regions is that they don't really, specifically exercise necessarily.
Yeah, they're not going to the gym.
Right. Instead, they naturally move, every 20 minutes or so. It's just kind of part of their everyday routine. Mm-hmm. So just for an example, in Ikaria, Greece, homes are built into the hills. So it's a very hilly region. Homes are built into the hills. So there's a lot of stairs inside the house, but there's also stairs to get from the street to the house.
Yeah.
So carrying groceries up the stairs to get in your house, or carrying your laundry from one floor to the next, or anything else is going to be getting in a quick workout. Mm-hmm. And people in these blue zones also do things like garden, or they mix their food by hand. They do a lot of low-tech stuff like our grandparents kind of used to.
They're on their feet and they're moving around.
Right. They're not sitting in front of a computer like so many of us.
I think we need to do some research. We should visit these places.
I think that would be great. And our work should pay for it. That would be most important. These all mean that they're engaging in these exercise snacks multiple times a day.
Right. So how do the rest of us work in exercise snacks throughout the day? I'm thinking that for me, I can walk a quick couple of laps around the main part of the hospital.
And that's a great way to get it in while you're at work. At most workplaces, I think you can either, walk laps inside your building. Maybe if your building's a certain size, around the outside. You can walk up and down the stairs a few times every few hours. If you work from home, you can get out for a walk, maybe on your lunch, or even ride a bike if the weather is allowing at this time of year. Even just a few times around the block can do the trick. If you want something a little more regimented, because some people like having a routine, we're going to post a link in our show notes to the Blue Zone website, which has an 11-minute workout that targets not only your heart, but also your core muscles. It helps you with balance, all of that good stuff. And Heather and I both love to dance. That's right. Impromptu dance parties a few times a day are great snacks. Plus, they relieve stress. Basically, if it gets you moving, do it.
Yes, I am always up for an impromptu dance party. I used to do those a lot with my kids when they were little.
Yeah.
So I still sometimes do them. Now they just look at me weird.
I was going to say, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I do it anyway. It's kind of funny. It's a fun way to burn calories and melt away stress.
All right. Now, we haven't talked about food yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, Heather, you're up. I'm sure you have some great holiday healthy eating hacks for our listeners.
I sure do. You know how I like to work in the healthy eating. Mm-hmm. So here are some healthy eating hacks so you can fuel your body healthfully for the holiday season. So the first one is not going to come as a huge surprise, but it's to watch those sweets.
She's just looking at me as she says it.
Stop. You always think I'm glaring at you. No. The holiday season is high tide for desserts. Mm-hmm. They will be everywhere. Mm-hmm. And like we discussed in last week's episode, put a reasonable limit on the number of desserts you'll eat in any given week. Remember our secret from last week. The first 2 bites are always the best, right? So really savor what you're eating and then visualize a stop sign once you're through eating the dessert. All right, my second healthy eating holiday hack is to limit those liquid calories.
Oh, yes.
We've talked about alcohol a lot in the past. Alcohol in small amounts has been shown to be heart healthy, but large amounts of alcohol can increase your blood pressure and can also affect your heart rhythm, especially in people with atrial fibrillation, or also known as AFib. So keep alcohol to small amounts. Also, with the increase in parties during the holiday season, it's easy to go overboard on alcohol or other high-calorie drinks.
Yeah.
Here, too, put a limit on the number of drinks and alternate with water.
Okay.
It also helps to stick to low-calorie drink options, such as hard liquor with diet soda or club soda. Hard seltzers are an option. You could also do a mojito minus the simple syrup. Maybe put in more mint and lime juice. And then certainly light beer is also an option as well.
In other words, back away from the eggnog.
Yes, be careful. Well, enjoy eggnog. I'm going to have a little eggnog, but it's going to be a small amount.
Okay.
Yes. All right, my next healthy eating hack for the holidays is to stick to quick and healthy meals.
Okay.
We talked about how there's less time to meal plan, right?
Yes.
So during this time of year, you could use healthy convenience foods to get food on the table more quickly. So think simple, everybody. So I'm going to list just a few quick and easy meals, okay, that don't take a ton of time. So you could do turkey burgers on a whole grain bun and have a salad or steamed vegetables with it. Maybe you buy one of those pre-made salads and get some rotisserie chicken, shred that.
Sure.
Put that on the salad, or instead of chicken, you could do nuts or seeds. You could do feta cheese, goat cheese, something like that. Sometimes for dinner, I like to make scrambled eggs or an omelet. So throw some veggies in there, have a slice of whole grain toast with
Breakfast for dinner.
That's right. Boom, you got an easy dinner. How about pizza? Lots of people like pizza. It's quick and easy to make, or you could order it. Instead of making it off limits or eating a ton of it, try to stick to just a couple slices. Have a salad with it or some raw veggies. You could also do prepared fish. I like to buy, there's like a brand where they already put the seasoning on there, right? And then I just microwave some potatoes and some steamed veggies. Again, you got a real easy meal. And then the last one, you may be surprised, I'm going to mention chicken nuggets in here.
Chicky nuggies.
Yeah. So we have those in our house quite a bit because they're real quick and easy to make. And I always pair them with like a healthy starch. So here again, the baked potato, or I make a big batch of brown rice and then have some steamed veggies with it.
I have one suggestion.
Yeah.
This is our quick and easy spaghetti with a
Sure.
salad on the side, because
That's
it's
a good one,
quick and
too.
easy. And if you can get those prepared meatballs, even if you
Okay.
want to get creative and throw in a little extra protein.
There you go.
Nice
I like
and
it.
fast.
I love that you have the salad with it instead of just eating a giant amount of spaghetti and garlic bread.
It's all because of you.
Oh, thank you. Glad I'm rubbing off on you a little
It
bit.
only took 5.5 years, but
All right, another method you can use, it's called the cook once, eat twice or more method. So this is when you make a large batch of food for future meals. So something like chili, soup, mixed dishes, taco meat, right? You could also make a large batch of whole grains or starchy veggies, like maybe roasted veggies or something to reheat during the week. Again, I do that with brown rice a lot.
Okay.
Because it takes a long time to cook, about 45 minutes, but then I got it and I can just reheat it for other meals during the week.
nice.
All right. And then my last suggestion for these healthy eating hacks during the holidays is to be aware of environmental cues to eat.
The Christmas tree is one of them.
The Christmas tree?
Well, yeah, it's Christmas.
Oh, that's enough.
Christmas, let's eat.
I was thinking more of stuff like the sight of food being out there. That's a huge, huge trigger cue for people to eat things even when they're not hungry.
Sure.
So as best you can, keep tempting food out of sight, right? Out of sight, out of mind kind of deal. And then keep the healthy food visible and convenient.
Okay.
Should be accessible, easy to grab. Our proximity to food is another big cue. The closer we are to the food, the more likely we are to just keep grabbing it and kind of eating it. Especially
Step away from the buffet.
Ooh, I like that.
We should have T-shirts made.
We should make T-shirts with that. So stay an arm's length away or further from the food, and you are less likely to keep grazing, okay?
Good idea.
Sometimes the variety of food available is a big cue. So if you open up your pantry and there's like 5 different types of cookies in there, you are more likely to eat a lot of cookies. Because
Just have one of everything.
Right? That's how it goes. I'll have 1 or 2 of each. Instead, keep that variety limited with food that's not as healthy. Here's where we want to up the variety with the healthy stuff, like the veggies and fruit. fruit. And then the time of day is the last cue to mention. So this one hits a lot of people, especially mid-afternoon or nighttime, our hard times of day, right?
Yep.
So where we want to eat just because it's like, oh, it's nighttime, I'll have a snack.
Right.
Or it's the middle of the afternoon, I'll eat something.
Yep.
It's kind of a not so great habit sometimes. So assess your hunger level, ride out those cravings. Most of them pass in about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Those seem like very doable things we can do to eat healthier over the next few weeks, if not into the new year. In fact, all the hacks we discuss will give us a good starting point for 2022.
Yes.
Gosh, we all need one, don't we?
Right?
Instead of just throwing our hands in the air and being like, oh, forget it, it's the holidays. I'll just start over on January 1st. We can start the new year from a positive place.
Totally agree. I kind of envision this like starting a race at the starting line versus 100 yards back.
Ooh, good idea. Or maybe starting the race ahead of everybody else.
Yes. As women, we need every advantage we can get.
No kidding. If there's one thing you've taken away from this podcast, I think that would be it.
All right. Well, here in the Karen Yantz Women's Cardiac Awareness Center, we value health and believe it's the greatest gift we can give ourselves. As the Roman poet Virgil said over 2,000 years ago, the greatest wealth is health.
True.
Yes. Follow one or more of our heart-healthy holiday hacks, say that 5 times fast, to give yourself the greatest gift this holiday season and beyond.
Let us know what you think by leaving us a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the Queen of Hearts podcast wherever you listen to us, and to hit that subscribe button on our Karen Yantz Center YouTube channel. Share our podcast with your friends and family, especially the women in your lives, so that they too can take charge of their own heart health.
Well, happy holidays, everyone.
Yay.
Thank you for listening. And as we always say, be the ruler of your own heart. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on the Queen of Hearts podcast. Our podcast is recorded here at the Karen Yantz Women's Cardiac Awareness Center inside Aurora St. Luke's Medical Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For more heart-healthy tips, info, recipes, and more, visit our website at www.karenyantzcenter.org, like us on Facebook at Karen Yantz Center, and follow us on Pinterest. If you like what you hear, subscribe to our show and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, ladies, be ruler of your own heart.